Moving over to the defense as we go, tremendous leadership. Not as many starters returning and not as much experience returning on the defensive side. But the guys that are returning and our leaders in that area are as good as I've ever had. And that starts really in our middle. You know, Kirby Hora is our most decorated player, if you will. He's everybody's All-American, about every All-American chart you can be on. He's on, and rightfully so. Because he's not only a great football player, he's an incredible leader and a great student. I don't think, Kirby, you haven't had a B here yet at Augie, have you? Yeah, I didn't think so. Just a great leader and a passion football player that leads from the middle down. Kirby's going to be joined by some different bodies around him this year. When I look at whether he plays Mike or Will, and we got our packages in, you know, our other starters in depth behind him will be Kyle Tice, is having a very good camp right now. Kyle will be playing inside, our Mike linebacker position. I love the way Kyle brings intensity to the game. He's got a skill set that he can match the box, big enough to take on big backs, and yet fast enough to scrape and run. So Kyle's done a really good job for us. There's a lot of guys behind there that we got to sort out 2 and 3, between Charlie Shorts, TJ Leggett, and some other names that are going to come around in that inside. But it'll be the best 5 linebackers that are going to be pretty much interchangeable for the year. Then the other backers that are Will position and our Sam position, though they're kind of interchangeable between Will and Mike, the Sam is where the competition's at. You know, Joe Kale's doing a good job at Will. I think that we have more depth at Will and guys that need to rise up at Will linebacker behind Kirby, but I think also that when you look at it, those guys will be prepared and ready to take 20 to 30 snaps a game if need be, and that's really what we're going to need out of them. We want to be 22 strong. At the Sam, there's awesome competition. I mean, it's 3 deep, and every day there's a different guy running in the front. And that's what you want. It's really what you want at this point in camp. We'll sort that out as we go. Isaac Weber is getting multiple reps. Brandon Lane, a redshirt freshman, is getting multiple reps. And then we also have some other guys that are mixing into that group as well. 3 names. Jordan Cardenas will come down and take a peek in that look. Who am I missing out of that group? Oh, Cody Kujawa, who we moved down from safety. Cody is in that top 3 as well right now, and more of a passing down guy as a safety. He's that box guy that can play out and expand versus certain personnel groups. So that's our linebacker core, and I'm really proud of the development that they're doing under Coach King. Move next up front, and that group is one that I'm really excited to see play. We go against ourselves all the time. As we know, this is a physical football league. The best teams in our league are physical teams. Joey leads that bunch. You know, Joey Newman is also our most decorated, second most decorated, or also a highly decorated defensive player for us, an All-American returning as well. Joey is up to 263, 4 or 5 pounds, depending on the day right now. Added incredible good weight to himself without losing any speed off the edge. I think he's going to be a dominant player in our league this year, and he has to be. Setting the edge and just an effort guy. And I remember when Joey was a freshman in our conversations about how good of a player he was going to be, and watching that come to fruition motivates every other guy to become Joey in that front. They all want to be him because he does it the right way every day, and that's what it's all about. When we get that depth going, we move some guys around on a day-to-day basis. We're long on the outside, longer than we have been. Jake Den at the other end played some snaps for us last year. Jake is going to be a good football player for us as well. I'm not going to get into too much depth about the depth of that position because there's still some moving parts involved. Some guys are going to go down and play a 3-tech in certain packages and get done and get going on it, but we do have enough depth to see who's going to rise up in these next 2 weeks. We'll determine bus spots out of that group as well. You'll hear more of those names going forward. And then inside, in the interior defensive tackle position, Logan Swanson is most experienced player. He hurt his foot last year, broke his foot. Coming back from that injury, had a great spring ball, and I think he's going to be a really great player for us. Very physical, big recruit for us, and he's playing up to that potential right now. Then behind him, we've established some depth with 3 different guys. Nate Meredith is getting more reps, a sophomore, a redshirt freshman that's getting more reps and playing some good football for us. And then you look at the guys behind him, we got a true freshman right now, and Jonathan Lee, that continues to move up the depth chart, and that's another position that if he's ready, he'll play. If he gets in that top 5, you know, we got to roll defensive tackles, as you guys know. You know, you're going to get hurt up front, and those guys merely last season, so we have to get guys ready, and he's assumed that role, rising up at that spot. At the nose tackle position is where there's a great amount of competition as well. You know, between Ben Kemp, who's coming up and pushing for that spot right now, and I think Ben is going to be a kid that has to add depth for what we do, is chasing a senior Dalton Fromm. and Dalton needs to be pushed and is having a very good fall camp comparative to his past fall camps. He's stronger, he's faster, and he needs to play physical up front, and I think that's what's starting to happen for us at those spots, along with Al Blomqvist at the 3. So that pretty much covers our interior and names to be mentioned as the competition grows. Moving to the backside, the big questions there are corners. You know, we graduated a bunch of corners, as everybody knows, played a lot of snaps for us. Avram Tynes is the most seasoned veteran coming back. Avram is having a very good camp. He's making plays and establishing himself as a leader. Now that those seniors are not in that room anymore, I'm really proud of Avram and how he's taken on that task. Behind Avram right now, as we look at it, we got Ryan West, who's a redshirt freshman again. You're hearing that a lot from me. Ryan is having a very good fall camp. He's from Anoka High School in Minnesota. Just, again, a good football player. He's not a guy that's going to look at you and say, wow, what an impressive looking guy. But he just goes out and makes plays, play after play after play. And I love that about Ryan. He's a football player, and he's got a good mentality for it. On the other side, we've added a junior college corner, Kenneth Griffin. Very pleasant surprise. Kenneth is making play after play. I think he's going to be one of the very good corners in this league, if not one of the top, to challenge as the season goes on. But I've been very pleased with the play of Kenneth, and he's backed up by Sidney Capers at the corner position, who redshirted last year as a redshirt freshman, and Sidney's long and really coming along in that position as well. So those are our top 4 in those spots. And then the safety spot is led by Michael Klosen. Michael, number 3, played for us quite a bit last year in different packages. Just intense football player, loves the game, plays it the way it should be, adds juice to our lineup, if you will. He's always the guy that's got passion and playing downhill. And then across from him, we got Anthony Tatum, we got Luke Fritsch, we got Isaiah Fettrell. You know, we got a bunch of guys that need to step up. And then past certain packages, Jordan Cardenas is going to slide up and get up in there as well in those positions. So there's multiple names that are going to continue to rise up. Did I miss anybody out of that group, guys? Oh, yeah, okay. So Eli Weber has risen up through the charts as a redshirt freshman. He's been hurt a couple days, so we can kind of keep that on the down low. Eli's running with the ones right now. Eli's done a phenomenal job this spring, and just as his knowledge grows in our system, I think he's going to become a premier player in our league as well. I'm really excited for his future and what he's going to do as a player. He's physical, and he can match up in routes. So just the smarter he gets in our system, the better he will be. Kicking game, finishing up with that, we have multiple snappers that are still competing for the job, and I feel really good about our competition at that spot. I think that in the next 7 to 8 days, we'll establish who those 1s and 2s are. Brett Karamer is our short snapper, and was our short snapper last year, backed up by Jake Russell. Both are laying bullets back there and doing really good work. And then our long snappers, we have Jake Den, we have Al Blomqvist, we have multiple guys. Chase Balliette is another linebacker who's really coming along in the depth chart as well, that are really doing a good job in that position as well. So, and then kicking and punting, right now, the punting position is Drew Jurgens, a transfer, actually a Brandon Valley graduate who went to Dakota Wesleyan to play basketball. Drew is a big target back there. He's 6'8", so our snappers are in love with him. Just, it's pretty hard to miss him. But he's really laying his leg out, and he's hitting some 50, 60-yard punts at times, and the strike point is really good. And he's also doubling as a kicker. He had a really good day yesterday at kicking. I think he had a 48-yarder yesterday, and then we stopped him right there. He could have kept going. He hit it by 10 yards. So good competition there. And then the other punter is Gus Klunder. Gus was a quarterback for us that we're pushing towards punter, and he's coming to his own and providing really good competition for Drew in that area. And then kickers are Luis Garita. Luis is actually from Brazil. He's went and recruited him out of Miami last year and redshirted him. Luis has some pop in his leg and is a very, very good kicker. He's being challenged by Drew on a daily basis, and between the two of them, Hawkeye wins of what we're going to do. Both of them can send it to the end zone with big legs. So I think that returners, I'm not going to get into that game. The list is about 8 deep because we have some guys that can run, and we're excited about that.